Or
No.
do you have a freezer in your garage?
Yes.
Do you keep food in there?
Yes.
Do you use items from that freezer?
Yes.
All right. Had you ever seen 2 bags of cement on top of that freezer?
I did not find them. My husband did.
All right.
I didn't notice them. It's not my thing.
So you don't know where they came from?
No.
All right. After your son was taken away on that day, when did you next see Ariel?
When she
Next
was,
speak to her, I should say.
I don't know if she called before she came out, because at some point she came out to get Haley, and it was either maybe the next morning.
Okay. Reclaim custody, basically, of Haley.
Yeah, she wanted to come.
When did you
Get
next
her.
speak to your son?
Maybe Sunday at the jail, I don't recall, because we weren't allowed to.
Did you ask him where baby Catherine was?
No, we weren't allowed to question or do anything about that.
Were you
No.
allowed to speak to him?
Yeah, but not about anything related to the case.
What do you mean you weren't allowed to? Who wouldn't allow you to?
Well, you're on glass with a phone, and so no.
Oh, so what you're saying is you're being recorded?
Correct.
Okay. So it's not like anybody was telling you you couldn't ask them, you're just saying you were being recorded?
Well, at that point, he had an attorney, probably by the time we got allowed to see him. So you're instructed not to talk about anything. All we could do is inquire about how he was, how he was.
And at some point, did you become aware that you were indeed the grandmother of baby Kate?
Yes.
How?
When the paternity test came back and you guys informed us.
All right. Did you ever urge your son to come forward with the whereabouts of baby Catherine's body?
I do not know.
Well, have you had any discussions with him about it from June 29th of 2011 until today?
No. Because he knew we would be a witness.
During the course of the investigative subpoena that was taken here in the courthouse under oath, were you asked whether or not you had asked him, but he couldn't provide any answers? Do you remember?
No. We might have asked, but he was instructed and we were instructed to not discuss the particulars.
All right.
And
so never-
he didn't want to hurt us and put us in that position of
Okay.
anything.
At some point, did you become aware of a letter that your son had written to Ariel Cortland?
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury how it was you became aware of that?
No.
Well, did you see the letter?
Yes, I believe it was published.
All right, and did you see the letter before it was published?
No, because it wasn't to me. So how would I have seen it?
When you say published, published where?
In the paper. They got copies and they put it online, and that's where I read it.
Did Ariel Cortland ever bring that letter to your house?
If she does, I don't remember.
Would your investigative subpoena refresh your memory as to that?
I'm sure it would.
All right, counsel, page 27. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Take a moment to read from the style all the way down.
Okay.
Right, does that refresh your memory?
Yes, it does now.
Okay. So at some point, did you become aware of a letter that Ariel Cortland, that your son had written to Ariel Cortland?
Yes.
All right. And how did you become aware of that letter?
Apparently Ariel brought it to us prior to it going into the news.
All right. And did you read that letter?
Yes.
All right. And how did you react when you read the letter?
Well, like any parent would react, I was very upset.
And did your husband read the letter as well?
Yes.
And did you say anything to Ariel after you read the letter?
We tried to figure it out with her. We tried to decipher what we thought. And we told her that we're very sorry. If that's truly, something that he said as truth, or,
When you read the letter, did you follow up with your son as to where the peaceful place was that he had left Catherine?
I probably would have asked him that, yes.
Did you?
On a personal visit with him, yes. Did he tell me anything? No.
All right. And do you believe that your granddaughter, baby Catherine, is dead?
I still do not know what to believe.
Were you previously asked whether or not you doubt at this point whether or not Catherine's dead at the investigative subpoena, counsel of page 28?
Did I say that I doubted that she was alive?
No? Were you asked if you doubted it?
If you ask me, it's probably in your document.
All right. And did you testify, I don't doubt for 1 minute that she is dead?
Maybe
Your Honor, I would
that's...
object. That was not a statement, that was a question that was presented by the witness.
Right, then the appropriate thing is to show her at a question and answer council.
Yes. Page 28, counsel.
I have it, I read it, and it says, I don't doubt for a minute that she is dead, question mark. It's not an answer, it's a question back to the person asking the question.
Did this exchange occur? And you don't doubt for a moment that she's dead at that point, is that fair? The answer was, I don't doubt for a minute that she's dead. Question correct? Answer, I guess I agree with that.
Then that's what I said at that time. But like I said, it's still a question.
Because your son has never told you where the body is.
He's never told anybody.
Subsequent to the disappearance of baby Catherine, has your relationship with Ariel Cortland changed?
Since this has happened?
Yes.
Yes.
In what ways?
She now trusts us, and we have a fair amount more of trust for her.
And she has your granddaughter, is that fair?
Correct?
All right. You certainly want to keep up that relationship with your granddaughter?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer yes or no. She
Yes.
takes it all down, okay? So, are you closer than you were back on June 11th?
Yes.
All right. Since June of 2011 until, okay?
I'm okay. Keep going.
All right, I just have one more question. From June of 2011 till today's date, October 1st, 2016, have you ever received any information about where baby Catherine's body is?
No.
What was your phone number back in June of 2011?
My cell phone number or the home number? The home number we already discussed, the
Cell phone number.
757-4931.
Cell phone number?
If it's the same one I have today, it's 425-6193, but I don't want that broadcast like I just said because everyone's gonna call.
It ties up some things in our timeline, I'm sorry. What about your husband's phone number?
It's his work phone number. You want me to say it?
Yeah.
499-5733.
And Chelsea's number, last one.
425-6586.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Are you to testify at an investigative subpoena, correct? Can you remember that?
Yes.
And do you recall your exact testimony from that date?
No.
Right. You're page 28. If I may approach, Your Honor?
You may.
If you could just read the section under there. And the question from the prosecution at the time was, all right, and you don't doubt for a minute that she's dead at this point, is that fair? And your response to that was a question in return, correct?
Correct.
That I don't doubt that for a minute that she's dead, question mark?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And their question was correct, and you said that you guess you could agree with that.
Correct.
How old was Ariel when Sean and her started dating?
I think I said 14 or 15.
Okay. And Sean was how old at the time?
17?
And there was a time that Ariel wasn't welcome at the house because of a theft issue or concern?
Yes, that's right.
And, but since then, as you testified, things have gotten better, you guys have worked out a pretty good relationship?
Yes.
During Sean and Ariel's relationship, they both called the police quite a few times?
Yes, I did.
Police were out to your house?
Yes.
Okay. Was Sean denied parenting time sometimes?
Yes.
And same thing, Ariel was denied parenting time sometimes?
Yes.
They were some pretty young parents.
Very much so. When the police would come out, was anybody ever arrested? No.
Ever any physical harm between the two during these arguments?
No.
Okay. Never any violence?
Not that I recall, no.
Did you ever overhear any threats towards, from Sean towards Ariel or Haley?
No.
And during some of these arguments, Ariel would call your house repeatedly.
Correct.
How many times a day would she sometimes call?
She would go in streaks where she'd just call, and then she'd break. And she'd call.
And that would be to Sean's cell phone?
That and the home phone number, just trying to get us to answer.
Okay. And at some point, the home phone number became Sean's cell
I
phone?
think he took on that phone just because it was working and his wasn't.
And what would Sean typically do when she would call?
Ignore the phone calls.
Did he ever shut his phone off?
Yes.
Just completely turn it off?
Yes.
That happened more than once?
Yes.
In fact, that was pretty much his response if the phone calls continued.
Yes, it was.
Now, with Ariel's pregnancy with Kate, Sean denied that he was the father to you, correct?
Correct.
But did you guys have some feeling that there was a possibility that he might be?
I think the more we, kept hearing about her pregnancy, just, you always have that thought, but since he would never confirm it, then you would just kind of push it out of your mind.
But there were times that he wasn't staying at home.
Right,
and you
yes.
Didn't know where he was.
Right, yes.
And he told you about the paternity testing.
Yes,
You were present when he got served.
we were.
He didn't try to hide the papers he was served with, was he?
No, we knew what it was.
Um, And Sean and Ariel's relationship was kind of hot and cold sometimes. Sometimes things would be really good and other times not so much.
Yes,
And as a mother to Sean, you may sometimes not have approved of who he was dating.
yes,
In this case, we had two parents that are quite young,
definitely.
somewhat irresponsible.
Yes,
Sometimes they're fighting each other, sometimes they're loving towards each other.
yes,
They're fighting over care of Haley, over visitation.
yes.
Did Sean discuss concerns about his pending Afghan or deployment to Afghanistan?
He wasn't necessarily concerned, but it did keep getting changed on him, so he had to keep trying to mentally prepare. He'd gone through all the training. I think we were more worried about it than he was.
And how was Sean as a parent to Haley?
He was a very good dad.
And what do you base that opinion on?
We had interactions with him and her at the house, and we would do family things together and take Haley places, and we made a room for her in our house, and he was the principal caregiver and we were his backup system, so he would buy her things that she needed, and if he needed help, then, we of course helped, but he wanted to do his best to show that, he could be a good dad.
And starting off, he was 17 when she was born, 17 or 18?
Yes,
So obviously, no clue what he was doing, a very young parent,
yes,
and you helped show him, the way, having already raised two kids?
yes.
And did he seem wanting to learn, eager to learn?
I think he was, yes.
Any concerns about his ability to care for her?
No, just that when they're that young, they still want to do their own thing, even though they have a child, and like any young parent can attest to, you still want to have your little video game time, or he didn't really have any friends that he still saw much that I'm aware of, because his free time was with her or us or with Ariel.
And while he was with Haley, did you ever have any concerns of postpartum depression with Sean? Did he ever show signs of depression?
No, not relating to her, no.
Okay. Any concern that he may cause harm to Haley?
No.
Okay. Was he ever diagnosed with postpartum depression or see anybody with?
No.
I could have just a second, Your Honor. I have no other questions.
Any other questions that you have for this witness?
Did Ariel ever tell you that your son had told her that he had feelings that he wanted to hurt Haley?
No.
And you referred to your son as the principal caregiver. He wasn't the principal caregiver in June of 2011, was he?
In June of 2011?
Right.
They were back to the back and forth.
Okay. And in fact, your son, by that point in time, was a number of years older than when he had Haley, correct?
Correct.
All right. He had gone through National Guard training, correct?
Correct.
And was going to be deployed?
Right.
All right. So, doing the thing a responsible adult does, correct?
Yes, he was trying to make a way for his small family.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Do any of the jurors have questions for this witness? record should reflect that we had some questions from some jurors. I have consulted with counsel, and I have some questions for you, witness. Mrs. Phillips, when Sean showed up at the house at about 3:30, did he look like he had been crying?
He was sad, but not to the point where I immediately thought something was wrong. He was more just quiet.
And did Sean and Ariel hide the pregnancy of Kate from you?
Yes.
Did they hide the birth of baby Kate from you?
No.
When did you learn that when did you learn that Ariel was pregnant with Kate?
A few months into her pregnancy, maybe like 2 to 3 months, maybe.
And when did you learn that the baby was born?
Shortly after that, I think it was on a weekend, and so it was a few days later.
So the final question is, you did know about the pregnancy and the birth before she came up missing?
Oh, definitely, correct.
Any other questions from any of the jurors? All right, counsel, are we all set here?
No, I follow up based on their answers, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Phillips, the investigative subpoena that we've talked about before, during the course of that investigative subpoena, you were questioned as to how your son was acting when he arrived home that day. Do you recall that?
No.
And would a copy of that, counsel page 19, would a copy of that investigative subpoena transcript refresh your memory?
Yes.
Why don't you begin with line 9 and go all the way down the bottom of the page? Does that refresh your memory as to how you previously testified under oath when asked how your son was acting when you arrived home?
Yes.
All right. And once again, was your memory better back at the time of the investigative subpoena when you testified under oath than it is today?
Yes, but that day is still pretty well etched into my...
Have you ever previously testified in any proceeding that your son was acting sad?
Well, they asked, how was he behaving, not...
Well, I'm asking you one question, we'll get there. Have you ever previously testified to that?
Testified to what?
That your son was acting sad when he arrived home that day?
No, I don't think I was asked
In fact,
directly.
under oath previously, did you testify that, well, a couple things here, I'm gonna start with the first one, that all you got out of him, that the baby was with Ariel, correct?
Correct.
And then were you asked, how did he respond when you pointed out that Ariel had called indicating, and did you answer he didn't? Cut off the question, did you refresh your memory on that?
Yes.
And the question continued on, didn't have the child, and did you testify? He acted confused and didn't understand why this was being questioned of him, so he proceeded to go out and call the police.
Yes.
All right. That's all I have, Judge.
I have one
Just a-
that came up, but I can just finish writing it. if
Sure,
everybody-
sure, take a minute, write it, but I'm gonna have counsel ask the question. When
I'll
you're
give
done
her a
writing.
minute to write and then I'll follow up.
Over to you, Mr. Glansing.
In your investigative subpoena that we just went over, prosecutor indicated that you stated he acted confused and didn't understand why this was being questioned of him. So he proceeded to go out and call the police. But your actual testimony, reading word for word, is that he acted confused and didn't understand why this was being questioned of him, I guess. So you weren't sure, you were sort of guessing at how he was acting?
Yes.
Okay, but not necessarily how he was acting, but he appeared to you to be maybe a little sad.
Yes.
Difference between how he acted and how he appeared?
Yes.
Right. And you said he was a little quiet?
He was very quiet. He didn't want to communicate very much with me.
Okay. Sean's generally a quiet person too, isn't he?
He is very quiet.
Okay. Not uncommon for him to not say a whole lot?
Correct, I have to dig.
When you guys are talking to him or questioning him about things, does he tend to pace a little bit, or does he stand still? What's his?
I'm a pacer, he's a pacer.
Okay. So family
yeah.
trait.
Mhm.
All right. I have no other questions.
Counsel, page 170, did you previously
Oh.
test
Page 170 of.
the trial transcript? Trial transcript was back in 2012, correct? Prior trial?
Correct.
All right. Did you previously testify that he came into the kitchen and talked to you?
He did come into the kitchen, yes.
Did you testify he went back and forth a few times to the driveway?
Maybe once to see if anybody was there yet, and he came back in, but he did pace.
Were you asked under oath, did he seem concerned about the situation?
Yes, I was asked that.
Did you testify no?
Apparently, yes. I testified no.
Did you tell the police, supplement 42, counsel, that the defendant acted like there was nothing out of the ordinary and was acting calm?
Mason County or letting the police department?
Yes.
He was acting calm because he does not show much emotion. There's a difference. You have to know
There's no
each
question.
individual.
Okay, I have nothing further now.